The Wolf and the Seven Kids, retold from the original by the Brothers Grimm. Once upon a time there was a goat who had 7 kids. Her love for them all was so great that she hardly ever let them out of her sight. She would spend many happy hours in the fields with them, playing ball games and telling them fairy tales. All her kids wore bells around their necks, and as they frolicked around their mother, they made the most beautiful tinkling sound. One day the mother goat gathered all her little kids around her and told them to listen very carefully. "My dear children," she said, "I have to go into the forest today to collect some food, but while I'm gone you must be extra careful. There is a wicked wolf who lives in the woods nearby, and if you let him into our home, he will eat you up." "Don't worry, mother, we know a wolf when we see one, and we won't let him near us," said the oldest kid. "You may think you know a wolf when you see one, but there's more to this wicked fellow than meets the eye," said the mother goat. "This scoundrel often dresses up in disguise, so listen out for his gruff voice and look out for his black feet." No sooner had their mother gone out into the woods than the little kids heard a loud knock at the door. Luckily, they remembered what their mother had told them and decided to check who it was before opening the door. "Who's there?" shouted the oldest kid. "It's your mother," came the reply. "I've brought back some food for each of you. Let me in and I'll cook you a lovely meal." The wolf was surprised when he tried to open the door and it wasn't open. "Are you having trouble with the latch, my little ones?" he said impatiently. But the little kids weren't fooled by the wolf's gruff voice and impatient manner. "Go away!" cried the kids. "Our mother has a lovely soft voice, but your voice is gruff. We know who you are. You're the wolf and you can't fool us." The wolf kept hammering on the door, but the little goats just ignored him. They knew that if they did this, he would go away eventually. And they were right, because within a few minutes he got bored with waiting and sloped off. Unfortunately, the wolf didn't give up easily. "I must think of a way to fool those goats and get them to open the door before their mother comes home," he muttered to himself as he wandered into the nearest town. As he was walking along, he noticed a colourful display of tailor's chalks in the window of a tailor's shop. These gave him a brilliant idea, so he went into the shop and bought himself the biggest lump of chalk he could find. If I eat this chalk, will it make my voice softer?" he said to the tailor. "Chalk isn't for eating," was the tailor's reply, but the wolf had a strong will of his own. "We'll see about that," the sneaky wolf muttered, and he ate the chalk anyway. He then set off for the house of the 7 little kids to put his plan into action and to try out his new soft voice. Once again he knocked on their door. This time he knocked gently, as he didn't want to frighten them off straight away. "Open up, my little ones," he cried. "It's your mother, and I've brought you plenty of delicious treats to eat. We can even go out for a picnic in the meadows if you like." But the careless wolf couldn't fool the little goats. He had leant his black paws against the window, and when the kids saw them they cried out, "Our mother doesn't have black feet like that. We know who you are. You're the wicked wolf. Go away and don't come back again. You can't fool us with your wicked ways." By now the wolf was feeling very hungry and very angry, so he stormed off into town again. "Those wretched goats are far too clever for their own good, but they won't outwit me," he muttered. As he was passing the baker's shop, he had another brilliant idea. So he went to the baker and said, "Please help me. I have cut my feet on some sharp stones in the woods. Can you rub some soft dough over them for me?" When the baker saw the wolf's sharp teeth, he was afraid to refuse, so he rolled out a special piece of dough and gently rubbed it over the wolf's feet. "There, there," said the baker, "that should make your poor old feet better." When the baker had finished, the wolf ran to the miller. "Sprinkle some white flour over my feet for me," demanded the wolf, but the miller thought it was such a strange request that the wolf must be up to no good, so he refused to do it. His refusal made the wolf very, very angry indeed. "If you won't do as I tell you, I'll eat you all up," said the wolf. Then the wolf growled at him and showed his sharp pointed teeth. Suddenly the miller was terrified. He valued his own life too much to refuse his request. Well, if that's the case, I'll certainly make your paws white for you," said the miller. So he took each of the wolf's paws and dipped them into a large bag of flour. Now the wolf was happy, because he had the white paws that he had asked for. With all the speed he could muster, the wolf ran off to the house of the 7 little kids. Hi guys, I hope you're enjoying the audio ebook. I won't keep you for long. Last year I was demonetized by YouTube and so I lost all opportunity to earn. But I love sharing the audio ebooks with you so much, I carried on. If you value what I'm doing here, please consider heading over to my other channel, Book Club, and hitting that subscribe button as a sign of support. The link's in the description. Now, back to the book. Enjoy. When the wicked wolf got to the house, he quickly ate some more chalk so he could speak in his softest, kindest voice again, and then he knocked on the door. "Please open the door for me," he said. "I have been collecting food in the forest all day, and I'm absolutely worn out now." But the little kids hadn't forgotten their mother's warning, and before they would open the door, they said, "Your voice may be soft, but we need to see your paws before we can be sure that you are our mother." The wolf put his paws up against the window, and because they were covered in dough and flour, they looked pure white. "Oh, we're so pleased you're home. You'll never believe what a terrible time we've had," said the oldest kid as he undid the latch. But when he looked up and saw the wolf towering above him, he shrieked out in horror. "Shut the door! Shut the door!" he cried out to the other kids. But it was too late. The wolf had already made his way into the kitchen. "Help! Help! Somebody save us from the wicked wolf!" cried the little kids, but there was nobody around to hear their cries. All the little kids were so frightened that they tried to hide. One crept under the table, the second jumped into the grandfather clock, the third slid under the bedclothes, the fourth hid under the bed, the fifth crept behind some logs in the fireplace, the sixth jumped under the sink, and the seventh hid himself in a big cupboard. The wolf was in such a rage when he entered the kitchen that he made all the little goats quiver with fright. "You've kept me waiting all day," he snarled, "but now I'm going to eat you all up." The first kid he found was hiding under the bedclothes. The poor little thing was quivering like a wobbly jelly. He was still in such a rage that he overturned all the furniture, so it wasn't long before he'd found 5 more of the kids. One by one he ate the poor little creatures all up. The only kid he couldn't find was the youngest one, who'd hidden himself in the clock case. When the wolf had swallowed the 6 kids, he wandered off to the meadows for an afternoon nap. Soon afterwards, the mother goat came home from the forest. My children, what has happened?" she cried when she saw that everything had been turned upside down in the kitchen. She called after all of her children by name, but none of them answered until she came to the youngest. "Mother, mother, I'm in the clock case," cried a little voice. Then the little kid ran straight to his mother. "Where are all your brothers and sisters?" asked his mother. "The wicked wolf came and ate them all," said the youngest kid. On hearing these words, the mother sobbed for hours and hours. When she had shed all the tears she could possibly shed, she went out for a walk in the sunshine with her little kid, because she thought it would make her feel better. While they were out walking, they came to a beautiful meadow. The mother goat was, of course, still very upset, but the lovely scenery made her feel a little bit happier. "Stay close by me, little one," she said to the kid. "You're all I have left in the world." And as she spoke, she looked into the distance and noticed a large creature lying under one of the trees. The mother goat had rather poor eyesight, so she had to get pretty close to the creature before she could work out who it was. It was only when she was just a few paces away that she realized it was the wolf, fast asleep. She carefully looked at all sides of the wicked creature, and then she took out her scissors from her sewing basket. Snip, snip, snip she went, until she'd cut the wolf open, and her 6 little kids had all leapt out. Suddenly the whole meadow was filled with the lovely tinkling sounds of the little goats' bells. "I'm so happy to see you, my little ones," said the mother goat, "but there is something we must do before we can feel really safe." And then she told all her little ones to fill the wolf's stomach with the biggest stones they could find. The 7 kids searched high and low for stones and wasted no time in filling the wolf's stomach with them. "You've done very well, my children," said their mother, and then she sewed the wolf up again. She just had time to hide behind some trees with her little kids before the wolf woke up. "I'm so thirsty," he muttered to himself as soon as he awoke, and then he wandered off to the river for a drink. But as soon as he leant over the water to take a sip, the weight of the stones in his stomach made him topple straight over, and the wicked old wolf drowned. "Goodbye, wicked wolf," shouted the kids as they watched from a safe distance. "You'll never harm us or anybody else again." The end. Last year I was demonetized by YouTube and so I lost all opportunity to earn, but I love sharing the audio ebooks with you so much I carried on. If you value what I'm doing here, please consider heading over to my other channel, Book Club, and hitting that subscribe button as a sign of support. The link's in the description.